Now we can move to Tom and Portis. Hi, Tom. Welcome.
Hey, Gabriel. Hey, everyone. Thank you for having me. In case, for those of you who don't know Portis, Portis is a company that was created in early 2018. One of the first Web3 providers basically in the space. It's more than a wallet. It's a wallet that is meant to interact with decentralized applications. I won't dwell on the history too much, but if you can move to the next slide, please. I'll talk about a meaningful event that happened in April 2020, just as COVID was starting to become a thing all over the world. So Portis was acquired by Shapeshift. For those of you unaware, Shapeshift is one of the older exchanges in the ecosystem, founded by Eric Voorhees, and they're very big on being non-custodial, which is or self-custodial. I'll go with the new term for this. The new term is self-custodial instead of non-custodial. It basically means that the user owns their private keys, and they're the only one who owns their private keys. And that was a very big thing for Portis from day one. That was also a very big thing for Shapeshift from day one, which is why this was such a, in our eyes and in theirs, such a great fit. So we were acquired by Shapeshift in April 2020. We joined the team, and next slide, please. And some very exciting news. I don't know how many of you had a chance to hear about this. This happened July 14 was the announcement, which was very recently. Shapeshift released, I think about 2 years before this announcement, they released a Fox token, which was something that gave you a lot of value from using the Shapeshift platform. It allowed you to get sponsored gas fees, and you could actually, even whenever anyone made a trade on the Shapeshift platform, the amount of Fox tokens you had was your likelihood of actually earning part of the revenue that Shapeshift earned on that. So just by holding Fox tokens, people like once a month suddenly see they got like some USDC or whatever for nothing in their wallet, which was very nice. But the big announcement that happened recently is that Shapeshift announced that it will decentralize the entire company. Now, this is a huge thing because up until now, all the companies that you have seen that have DAOs and whatnot and are decentralized, those are companies that were born this way. They were born to the blockchain space as a new company which wants to become decentralized, and obviously going down a decentralized path, if we're talking about, let's say, companies like Uniswap or any of the other such companies that are big and were born this way, they have their DAOs, but this is how they started. This is a case of a company that has a treasury, has a working product, has an LLC that did all the regulatory things and it is already there, but it's saying, no, the right way to move forward is actually to go down this path. They've always been very big on, sometimes you see companies that are in blockchain, but they're not, I wouldn't say true believers. They're here because they think they can maybe earn a profit or whatever, which is fine. And a lot of times that's very useful for the ecosystem. Every project has its space and has its value. But if they are true believers in this, the way things can work under blockchain, this is a clear demonstration of that as far as Shapeshift is concerned, because they're saying, no, we're actually closing down the LLC. We're closing down the centralized company and everything that goes around that. And, obviously this is a process that takes time, but I can tell you as someone who's already there, this is underway. This is happening. Shapeshift is open sourcing all of its code and everything else. But where does Portis fit into all of this? So Portis will not be part of this decentralization effort. I'm not to say that Portis will never do something like this. This is actually something that we're very excited to do ourselves. It does not make sense at this current point with the dApps that are already using us, etc. It's just not something that we currently want to focus on. And I'll tell you in a second what we're actually focusing on more moving forward. Next slide, please. But for now, Portis will remain as just like it was in the past, just like a regular company providing services. We really want to go open source, where this is not something that we're not doing for a business reason. This is more about anyone here who is part of a big project or a small project or any project knows that there's a list this big. It's even bigger. My screen isn't big enough of things that you want to do, and you just got to prioritize. And so speaking of prioritization, one of the and features we want to have, one of the major features we had with Portis from day one in our vision is that we want to be cross-chain. We're big believers in Ethereum. I'm a huge Ethereum fanboy, but there's a lot of value to be had from chains which are not the Ethereum mainnet. And for instance, RSK, this is a chain that we added support for back in January 2019. Hard to believe it's been like 2.5 years since, given the last year, feels like more. And we also support a lot of other sidechains as well. And you can check out our documentations at docs.portis.io and see how easy it is just to hook into the RSK network with Portis. And to dwell a little bit about Portis for people who are unfamiliar with our solution, the way Portis works is that we use end-to-end encryption, meaning the user is in full control of their private key, and everything is encrypted and decrypted on their device. We never see your unencrypted private key. We do not want to see it. We think that's a huge security risk, but it also kind of goes against the whole ethos of of self-custody and censorship-free, etc. Our whole approach is also based around a simple user experience. So we don't ask the user to install anything. Instead, as the dApp developer, you integrate the Portis SDK, which means that your users get a solution bundled inside their dApp. And the way this works is basically an iframe opens up, the user opens up a window, puts in their email and password, regular email and password login, something that users are very familiar with and feel very comfortable with. But as far as as the user is concerned, they don't have to install anything. They don't have to go on a specific device. It works on any standard modern browsers. So it works on mobile, it works on desktop, and they get this cloud experience that they're used to, that they have an email and password, and they can log in with the same account on their phone, on their computer, so they don't have to sync private keys manually across devices and deal with seed phrases. We do allow the user to see their seed phrase, and we also have our own backup recovery phrase for all of your different seed phrases, because we have one for your Ethereum wallet, one for your Bitcoin wallet, etc. And you can import other wallets if you want. So we do tell users, look, if you forget your password and you don't have any backup recovery phrases, sadly, right now, there is nothing we can do. We're looking into recovery methods such as social recovery or other methods as well. But as you all know, all of these have their pros and cons and come with their trade-offs. Right now, we see this end-to-end encryption solution, which is very similar to LastPass or 1Password, if you're familiar with those. So just think, instead of passwords, you got private keys. So it's the same concept. And people are using 1Password and LastPass and do manage to hang on to their recovery phrase and keep that just in case they forgot their password. So that is something that we see that people are able to do. So we see that as currently the right trade-off. So next slide, please. So we've been spending the past year working mostly, I would say, around optimization and technical debt, so to speak. We optimize our SDK. We carry out a lot of performance upgrades there, fix some bugs, UI improvements, some security issues. We were mostly focusing on kind of cleaning stuff up, as you say. But we are now starting to dive into the NFT space. So we want to make sure that we can also offer an NFT experience for our developers, which means that in addition for our users, and we have a lot of things in store, which I cannot share all of them at the moment, but they will enhance our users' experience greatly across the different applications that utilize this. But that's on the one hand, but also for the developers themselves, we want to offer them a suite of, just like we did for Portis as a regular dApp provider, a Web3 provider, and we integrated with a gas station network, or we offered the ability to change networks for a user. This was something that we also saw in some application, which was useful with RSK. The developer could easily switch the network the user is on. Right now, that's a standard EIP, and we're actually working on upgrading to the standard that was created since. But we actually added this feature back when no one was even thinking of doing it, because we talked to our developers and we saw that this is a need. If they want to have users on an application and they want to easily switch them around between, let's say, being communicating with the Ethereum network and then switching to communicating with the RSK network, but without asking the user to go and configure stuff inside their, whatever MetaMask options. And that's if your application needs to have a set of instructions on how to use it, you're doing something wrong, right? There's a famous phrase that UX is like a good joke. If you have to explain it, then it's not very good. So we wanted to offer our developers to have that power that you're used to having in Web 2. There's no instructions on how to use Uber or how to use anything else, which is, you know, modern and useful. So just how we offer those capabilities in the, I'd say, regular Web3 world or existing Web3 world, now we are moving also into the NFT space, and we want to offer the same functionality. So I also urge you guys to talk to me, talk to us, and there will be some links at the end of this slide, which we're coming to very soon, where you can reach out to us. If it's our Telegram, if it's Hello Next, if it's our Twitter, and just kind of tell us what you guys need, because that has been our motto from day one. We want to listen to the devs, figure out what they need, and just build accordingly. Because basically because pretty much you're the ones who are dictating where this ecosystem will go. So next slide, please. So up until now, we started to, We started to implement, or not implement, but actually try it out in the field, our NFT functionality. In Bitcoin Miami, the Bitcoin Miami conference that was recent, we had a collaboration with Blau, the EDM DJ, whoever is familiar with it, and we did an NFT giveaway. There's a link to the one that I got on OpenSea. If anyone wants to make a bid on it, they're welcome. We also did something for the Oscars. Recently, we gave a lot of the artists that were nominated through a collaboration with someone in the project. I won't go into it, but they also got a wallet with some NFTs in them. So you might find those on OpenSea as well. But we're trying to make the experience where if someone wants to give NFTs to their users, they can do it very easily and just kind of drop it in their lap in a very simple way without complicating them. And with Blau, we actually, if you click on the next slide, please, here's like a picture from it inside the show. And people who were there told me, who knew Portis, because we've been around for a while, and they said like they didn't even expect this to happen. And when they saw people drunk at 2 a.m. scanning a QR code and actually managing to go through the flow very easily and claim their NFT, they were blown away, because suddenly it starts to feel very real. We're kind of crossing that bridge where we're starting to see things happen in the real world with crypto in a way which is really mainstream. And that's for people who've been in this space for long enough. That's really fun to see. Next slide, please. So I mentioned that we dived into the NFT space. Another thing that we're kind of working on right now, not kind of, but kind of improving on. We already had this. This is called direct purchase, where we allow users to, instead of, if they need to buy something that costs that amount of whatever crypto, instead of sending to some buy flow where they buy the crypto, complete the transaction, go back, wait for the crypto to be there, sign a transaction, making it a very complicated flow, we're making this through just like one click. And this was something that is already in existence, but we're improving on it to make it more robust, and also adding like token swaps in the middle. So it's going to be pretty exciting once we release that. It will just allow you as a developer to improve the experience for your users. When they need to buy something of a specific token, they can do that with several clicks with their credit cards, very simply, just like buying something on Amazon. Sorry, I'm just kind of running through it because I know we're short for time. So I'll jump to the next slide. So that's pretty much it. We're on Twitter, we're on Telegram. We also have Hello Next, which is a great platform for feature requests. If you're not familiar with, I recommend this to other projects as well. Kind of like a Reddit, but for feature requests, so people can upvote and downvote, other suggestions. So if someone already asked for something that you want to do, you can just upvote it and add your comments, and that way it gains more traction. So if you have any suggestions, please let us know, or request, or just want to talk to us. We're available, and excited to see what you guys will build, with Portis, if on RSK or anywhere else.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tom. And let me, on behalf of every Bitcoiner in the RSK ecosystem, to congratulate you and the Shapeshift team. Eric has been an inspiration for so many years, for so many Bitcoiners, and really kept towards this ethos of decentralization. I hope what Shapeshift is doing becomes an inspiration for many other companies in the space, and really proves that decentralization is the way. So please send my regards and everyone in the RSK ecosystem to Eric, to John, to Michael, and everyone in the team, because it's very inspiring what you guys are doing, and really looking forward to see other projects following the path. So congratulations on that as well.
Thank you. It's very exciting from internally. Everybody's like, it feels like we're doing something which is like, really one of a kind and really exciting. So everybody's really pumped about it.
It is. Thank you so much.